What's up, everybody? It's Emily, and I'm here to help you become your greatest version. Now, today I wanted to bring you some of the best ways to eat to help that fat burn off the fastest, to just melt it off there. Now, it's gonna sound like it's gonna be hard, but actually these 3 ways are super simple swaps that you can make. And they may sound difficult, but in fact they are super easy and will allow you to lose that weight without really even doing anything so crazy at all. Like no aerobic exercise, nothing nuts. So, the first tip, swap out that processed food. Get it out of there. It's gone. If it's processed, you don't want it in your body. If it the basic standard that some of my clan sort of embraces is that if it comes in a box or a package, or, well, yeah, primarily if it comes in a box or package, but also like breads, cookies, candies, really anything that's not a whole food, get it out of your diet. Just trust me and abandon it now. You know, I have been through the ringer when it comes to eating. I think I've tried about every variety of diet under the sun, which, let me give you a caveat. Let me help you with something. As I've been through literally years, I have been essentially dieting since I was, like 12, because Western society tells women that we are not attractive unless we look like an absolute pencil. And the funny thing about that to me nowadays is that this societal stereotype of this Barbie matchstick woman is like, could actually easily be achieved if that was even mattered, which it doesn't, but you know, is so actually easy if you're eating the right diet for you. But man, as a, humanity has come so far away from our natural species specific diet that we don't even realize that it's what we're eating that's making us sick, that's causing us to gain weight, that's disabling us from being strong, healthy, fit, flexible human beings. So one of the easiest steps and first steps that I would honestly make to simply better your health, and by the way, this simple swap will allow you to lose 100 calories without doing anything, literally nothing. All you have to do is simply not consume those processed foods, and you'll be easily burning off an extra 100 calories. Because the fun fact is that our bodies burn off 100 calories extra if you're eating whole foods, and specifically like plant foods are some of the easiest to burn off for our body. So it's a bonus. It's like running a mile but you didn't go anywhere. Where do you stand to lose? Second thing is to get rid of, and I know this is going to be hard, but to get rid of the meat and dairy. I know that a lot of us are accustomed to, we grew up with eggs and bacon in the morning, or pancakes, or I don't know, eggs were in a lot of our meals, I know. And, at least for my generation, we were unfortunately part of the milk does a body good generation, which, dear sweet world out there, can I just encourage people who care about mindfulness and health and conscious creating of the world, can I just encourage you not to just blindly consume and to believe everything that you see in the media? Because let me tell you, and this was literally my generation, this was literally me growing up in my adolescence and my young adulthood, the milk does a body good. It does not do a body good. Milk is tailor-made for a baby, whatever critter it is, milks that you're drinking. So cow, it's to grow a baby cow. For goat milk, it's to grow a baby goat. So there's 2 problems with milk. I'm gonna address this in part meat and then part milk. So the dairy, the issue primarily for you and your body is going to be the amount of mucus that it retains. To our body, milk is foreign. It's mucus forming, and the reason I should say that it forms the mucus is because it's foreign to our body. It's a reactive response of our body to a foreign invader, which is milk. So if that's not one clear sign that it's not meant to be for us, well, there's that. But the other thing that milk makes it really, really impossible to do, and you're just going to have to trust me on this one, because I've been through the entire mill of diet plans that should supposedly work and don't, because dieting just doesn't work. You have to learn how to eat properly. So the one thing I can assure you of, though, is that if you're consuming dairy, you're going to have a hard time losing any weight at all. One of the single biggest improvements to my health happened when I took out the dairy. And, taking out that dairy isn't even the best aspect of it. Like, is it worth it to feel better, to not have all that mucus clogging your sinuses? Like in the winter, a lot of people will be sniffling. Not so much. The minute that you take these things out, you'll see your sinuses, really, it takes a long time, actually. You'll be shocked to get the dairy out of your system. But I promise you, really, you can come back to this video and you can tell me about your results later. The minute you take out that dairy, the weight will start coming off. The quicker that you're able to remove the dairy and the less dairy you have in your life on a daily basis. I think it's something like 30 days, your body makes a whole new set of cells out of what you were eating for the last 30 days. And so if you get rid of animal products, 30 days later, you're going to feel amazing. And I'm not just saying that. In fact, at some point down the road, I'm going to be running a challenge that I very much encourage you all to go through, because you will feel incredible at the end of it. And it's really not, nothing in that is super difficult to do. So thing one is to drop those unprocessed foods, and that's a big deal. And then the second thing is to get rid of that meat and dairy. Oh, right, I didn't even talk about the meat. So the meat, besides being obviously cruel because you're killing an animal for that meat, straight up, and I think at the end of the day, the bottom line is that most of us would rather not kill an animal, I don't think. And so the whole thing is, we don't need to eat those animals. Unfortunately, we were very, very brainwashed to believe that two things really. One, that we need protein in that level of excess, which we absolutely do not. We actually can survive on a very small amount, not survive, we can thrive on actually a very little amount of protein. This whole propaganda craziness that's kind of going on right now, especially in the vegan community, I've noticed, is this hype on protein. It's kind of crazy if you think about it, because actually the one thing that we don't have, for the most part in the Western world at least, is protein deficiency. Literally no one, let me let that sink in, literally no one that anyone knows of anywhere in the developed world is protein deficient. No one. So trust me when I say this whole hype over protein is just that, it's hype. So meat, besides being cruel, you're murdering an animal for that meat, which you don't need, because I promise you can get protein from plenty of plant foods. You can get it from spirulina, for just one example. What else do I get my protein from? I don't know, I can't think off the cuff, but spirulina is the biggest thing that I ingest for protein, I think. Well, you actually know, you can also eat lentils and beans, and those have protein as well. There's plenty, and tofu. There's plenty of alternatives, is the point. You're absolutely not going to be at a deficit for protein, I promise. So take the murder out of your life. And I know that it perhaps sounds a bit like, well, only the hippies, are so bleeding hearts, like they're, just crying about the lives of the animals. But actually, as woo-woo as it might sound, after a time when you've stopped eating animals, you will feel better. And I don't just mean on a physical sense. Your mind becomes more free because you're not inflicting pain and suffering. And it sounds really out there, but I kid you not, because you'll then be living in love and living more peacefully, that's what you'll be putting out. And it just brings, I know it sounds crazy, I really do, but it brings you such a peace of mind that even that alone to me is worth it. So, number one, drop the processed foods. Number two, drop the meat and dairy. And tip number three, maybe the most important thing of actually any dietary thing that you do in any regard, and that is to incorporate as many fruits and vegetables into your diet as you can. Preferably the more raw the better, but it does not have to be raw food. It's the main point is that you incorporate as many fruits and vegetables and whole foods as you can into your diet, because ultimately those are the things that the body has to process the least. It doesn't have to work super hard to process. And what that basically means also is that fuel in your body is burning clean, which means that, as opposed to say something like, we'll use McDonald's fries again just because they're the most disgusting thing I can think of in the moment. Because of the frying, the oils are just, maybe as a kid in health class you were like me and you saw some of these charts of people's arteries clogging from fat. Well, that's exactly what you're doing every single solitary time that you ingest that fat. And for another example of just other processed things we talked about earlier, like the sugar, we don't think about the effect of that Coca-Cola that we get with, say, our, I don't know, crappy food I used to eat, like a McDonald's Happy Meal once upon a time. You know, I've been vegan, by the way, for like 5-6 years now. I think it's my 6th year, and I've never made a better decision for my entire life. Honestly, if I can encourage you to do so, I really strongly encourage you to consider going vegan. If it's in your ability, that'll be the single best decision you've ever made for your health. And yeah, but so if you feel you can't go all the way there, I would also strongly encourage you to try at least to go vegetarian, because the reality of it is that even though it's not really minimizing much suffering, there's still a lot of struggle, sadness endured by the animals, because although they're not killed, they are still in some really rough conditions. It's better that you're minimizing that suffering, but honestly, do whatever you can. You know, the bottom line to me is that you minimize or completely eradicate the suffering that you're causing on the planet. You know, if you think about it, it's pretty crazy. We're here on a planet with, if you even take one example of, say, one particular plant, say even like bananas, for example, there are like literally thousands of varieties of bananas on this earth. Now, that's just one example of one specific variety of one thing on earth. Like, it's crazy to think that we would be alone here. And to me, to be on a planet with this much animal and plant diversity, to be so disrespectful as to just eat our friends when we absolutely do not need them for fuel, it's like really crazy that ever kind of happened. But the healthiest way to live is coincidentally also the most compassionate. And the best thing I can say to you is, if you don't believe me, that's fine. That's okay. Try it. And I mean, hey, if you hate it, you'll know. But I think you'll find that it is one of the most amazing ways to live. You can actually feel good about yourself. You can actually eat food. I had a huge breakthrough about, gosh, I can eat as much of this food as I want and I don't gain weight. You don't gain weight because you're not eating the wrong things. You will develop a healthy relationship with food, because it almost takes a whole rewiring of your brain when you go through these 3 simple changes. I mean, simple changes. Just get rid of the process. So if it comes in a box or a bag or some kind of a package, just don't get it. And, if it's like a carrot, a vegetable, you can chop it up and throw it into a soup, you're good. It's a whole food, It becomes common sense. It takes practice at first, but it becomes common sense. So, get rid of the processed, get rid of the meat and dairy, and incorporate as many fruits and vegetables into your diet as you can. And you'll find that you feel much, much better. The weight will just begin to shed off. I mean, quite rapidly for me, to be honest. I lost the 40 pounds I lost probably in the first 6 months to a year, which, by the way, is crazy for me. I was someone who never lost weight. Ever since I was about 10 years old, I had watched my weight climb. And when I was, I guess, 30, well, 5 years ago, so 30, I got really sick and I had to change my diet, and I found, thankfully, the best way to live. And I say the best because it truly is. It's the most compassionate way of living. It's peaceful for your mind. It brings you peace of mind. And I know it sounds crazy to say, but you'll be more in tune with your environment. You'll feel more. You'll feel more connected to your fellow humans, to your fellow earth mates, to the animals and the plants. So you don't stand to lose anything, and you will feel so much more gratitude and love the more time goes on. I just know you're going to see the results that you want. So if this video was of any help to you, please do like, subscribe, comment, let me know down below if you tried any of these tips. Let me know what worked. Tell me what didn't work. Tell me, have you tried any of these tips? How are you eating? I'm curious. I'd like to get to know you. So please, if this video helped you in any way, like, comment, subscribe, share the video by all means. All of this really helps me out. And finally, guys, I just want to say a big, huge thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate, if I could speak, you sharing your energies with me, and I will see you in the next video. All right, thanks guys. Bye, have a fantastic day, and keep it fit. This is the best way to live for your life. Take care.